Marcus had lived in his apartment for nearly a year before he finally noticed the man living directly beside him. He wasn't sure how he'd overlooked him for so long, maybe because the neighbor never made a sound, not a footstep, not a cough, not even the muffled hum of a TV. The only reason Marcus learned his name at all was because of the slip of paper taped to the neighbor's mailbox, Unit 4B, Mr. Caro. Marcus remembered thinking the handwriting looked shaky, almost scratched in. That night, while carrying groceries up the dim stairwell, Marcus saw him for the first time. Mr. Caro was standing perfectly still outside his door, facing it, not unlocking it, just staring at the peephole. His clothes were old-fashioned, too formal for apartment living. A long dark coat, iron slacks, and shoes that looked a century old. His skin was pale and thin like wax, and his eyes, when they flicked briefly toward Marcus, were colorless. Evening, Marcus offered. Caro didn't reply. He just tilted his head slightly as if listening to something Marcus couldn't hear, then turned a knob and slipped inside without a word. Marcus stood frozen, the air around him oddly cold. Over the next week, strange things began happening. Marcus kept hearing soft taps on his wall late at night, always in threes. At first, he thought it was pipes, but the taps sounded deliberate, patient, almost polite. Every time he knocked back, the tapping stopped. One night, while brushing his teeth, Marcus noticed light leaking through the shared vent between their bathrooms. He leaned closer. The whisper stopped the breath in his throat. "I hear you." Marcus stumbled backward, knocking over his toothbrush cup. His skin crawled. He pressed his ear to the vent. Nothing. Not even breathing. The next morning, he marched to 4B and knocked hard. The door creaked open on its own. Inside, the air smelled dusty, stale, like no one had lived there for years. The lights didn't turn on. The apartment was empty, except for a trail of footprints leading toward the bedroom. Marcus followed them, each step colder than the last. The bedroom door was slightly open, as if waiting. He nudged it. Inside was a perfectly clean room with no furniture, no dust, no footprints, completely untouched. But behind the door, pressed flat against the wall like a cutout, stood Mr. Caro, smiling silently with his eyes stretched too wide. Marcus ran.
Marcus barely slept that night. He called the building manager first thing in the morning and demanded answers. The manager sounded confused.
4B's been vacant since last winter, he said. No tenant named Caro.
Marcus felt nauseous. Then who put his name on the mailbox? Who have I been seeing?
There's no name on that mailbox, kid. It's blank.
Marcus hung up and sprinted downstairs. The mailbox was indeed empty, spotless, as if freshly cleaned. When he returned to his apartment, the door to 4B was cracked open again. At the end of the hallway stood Mr. Caro, only this time, Marcus could see him clearly. His legs weren't touching the ground. His feet dangled inches above the floor, swinging slightly like a puppet in a quiet draft. His voice was barely a whisper. "Thank you for noticing me." Then every door in the hallway, on both sides, slowly opened on their own, each revealing a dark, silent figure standing perfectly still, all with the same colorless eyes. Marcus bolted for the exit, but just before he escaped, he heard the last thing he ever expected. 3 soft taps from inside his own apartment.